In 2009, when I was in one of my darkest places with food, I came across this guy who was an NLP practitioner, and he was claiming that in one session, he could completely cure you of all your eating problems. It's a pretty bold claim, and he said he could do it in one session, and if by some crazy reason that didn't work, he would do another couple of sessions, and if that didn't work, you'd get a refund. He also claimed to have a 100% success rate. I was in so much pain at that time. I would have done anything, absolutely anything. And this guy was based in Harley Street, which, if you're not aware, that's a prestigious area of London, aka very expensive. I was a public sector worker at the time, didn't have a lot of money, but I thought, you know what, it's worth it. He was even offering a money back guarantee, so it kind of felt like I had nothing to lose, because I would have given anything to have sorted out this food problem. So when I went to see him, I remember saying to him, look, when I'm eating, when I'm binging, I just cannot stop. Like, no matter what, it feels impossible to stop. And so he paints this picture for me. He says, if you were binging and someone started breaking into your house, would you be able to stop then? And of course, my answer had to be, yeah, in that situation I could stop. So he says, see, you can stop. You are capable of stopping. And I thought, wow, I guess he's got me there. I left that session after doing some weird stuff. I don't remember much about it. I remember we threw some keys around at some point, and my memory of it was him getting a bit frustrated at me that I wasn't catching the keys, even though I wasn't supposed to be looking at him when I was catching the keys. I don't know, maybe those of you who have some knowledge about NLP can tell me what that was all about. So I came away from that appointment, and guess what? I wasn't fixed. But not only that, I left thinking, he's right. Like, if I really wanted to stop, I would just be able to stop, which of course reinforced the story about myself, which I've talked about before, that I really believed the reason why I hadn't stopped was because I wasn't trying hard enough. So I just kept doubling down. I never went back for my next sessions because I was too ashamed. So he took my money and I just didn't go back. Now, of course, I have a different view on this today, because yes, if I'm binging and somebody's breaking into my house, that is an imminent threat, potentially, to my life. So it's not even going to be a choice to stop eating. I am just going to stop eating. But how do you manufacture that kind of survival threat, if you like, to try and make you stop eating in the moment? Well, of course you can't. So we're taking this very extreme example and then trying to suggest that would be possible in everyday life. And in fact, just the belief that I thought I should just be able to stop this, and I'm fundamentally broken in some way that I can't just stop this, that very belief was part of what was working against me. And this is what I'm inviting you to think about in this video, is what is it that's working against you that leaves you feeling like you just cannot stop eating? If you're struggling with your eating, it can be really hard to find the right help out there, because there's so many threads to our appetite. There's biology, there's genetics, there's emotional, there's psychological, there's social. I do think when we're thinking about what is working against us, that we do have to start with biology. And yes, you've heard me say it a million times, but if you are restricting, there is often a biological backlash whereby your biology is responding to try to get you to eat more. So in those moments, to not eat more is to try to get in a fight with your biology. The thing is, your biology isn't just going to give up. Your biology is just going to keep nagging you to eat. Mentally and emotionally, we get tired. But biologically, when the body is just trying to get what it thinks it needs for survival, it's like it doesn't seem to tire out. So we get tired from fighting with our biology, but quite often biology is winning. Not for everybody, but for a lot of us, that biological response is so strong that it seems to win. So if you are asking yourself, why can't I stop eating food? I think the first question is, am I trying to restrict my food? Because that is something that will lead to you feeling out of control around food. Not the only thing, but it's often the place we need to look first. I also want to give a nod to the blood sugar roller coaster. So also, if your diet is quite low in fiber and protein, it could be that you're getting quite a few blood sugar spikes, and that falling blood sugar creates these cravings. And that can lead to you feeling more out of control as well. You might feel like those cravings are emotional because they come as a feeling, but it could be biological if you're not feeding yourself a variety of foods. Now, the idea with asking yourself what could be working against you is not so that you can fight against it harder, but it's how do I work with it? So rather than getting in a fight with my biology, how do I work with my biology? For many, that means addressing restriction. But if we look at beliefs as well, our beliefs can be working against us too. It could be that diet culture has done a number on you because you have this belief in your head about how much you should be eating, not even realizing that potentially your brain and body wants you to eat more than that. If you've been struggling with food for a while and you've ever sought advice from people, chances are you will have heard somebody say to you, why don't you just try and eat in moderation? But if you've battled with food for years, your beliefs about what moderation even looks like, you might not even know. Our beliefs also anticipate as well. So this compulsive eating can become a habit. If you're always eating in a certain way or feeling out of control around food in particular situations, it could be that your brain is just always anticipating this is what happens in this situation. So if you always binge when you're traveling, for example, as soon as the traveling's coming up, your brain's going, we're going to binge. Like that's a belief system that's being triggered there. And it could be, and if people go away and you have a weekend to yourself, that could be another trigger for you to binge. So we have these psychological triggers that have become automatic, but began from beliefs that developed out of experiences. So it might start with secret eating because you feel ashamed. And now anytime you're on your own, there's like a trigger to eat secretly, even though the original reason for eating secretly might no longer apply. And here's where it gets a bit sticky because our beliefs also impact our biology. I have a video called Are Your Beliefs Making You Hungry? I'll link to it above and below. And in this video, I talk about a piece of research where they looked at it. You could see that what people were believing actually affected how much ghrelin, which is one of our hunger hormones, how much ghrelin our bodies produced. So our biology, our hormones were reacting to what we were believing about the food, not what was actually being consumed. That blows my mind, and to me really adds weight to having a psychological approach to healing your relationship with food. So asking yourself if or how your biology might be working against you, if or how your beliefs might be working against you. And the last one, it is about feelings, but I guess I kind of want to take it a little bit further in terms of it's possible to get into this cycle where food becomes the way to regulate. So often people will say to me, yes, I'm an emotional eater, but I can eat over any emotion. I can eat when I'm feeling happy, I can eat when I'm feeling sad or bored, or it doesn't matter. Like I just find myself reaching for the food. We go through life and we have these spikes in stress, we have these spikes in our emotional experience. And when food becomes a way to try and calm the nervous system down. We use food to keep triggering the parasympathetic nervous system, to keep calming us down, to keep us in this level place, to try and make our emotional experience more like this instead of more like this. If you relate to this, the approach can be twofold. There's looking at the beliefs that you might hold about living a life where your emotions are doing this. And there also could be a sense of needing to really get into your body and learning how to bring your nervous system down. Because it's almost like the nervous system, one way of thinking about it possibly, is that the nervous system kind of gets, lazy is not the right word, but like fixated on, no, the way we come down is food. So it then triggers thoughts of food in that moment, and you can't rest because you're feeling agitated until you eat the food, and then your nervous system takes a sigh and goes like, okay, we can relax. So again, if this is relatable to you, you might want to do a bit of research into how to calm a nervous system. But people will often come to me and they'll say, in the middle of it, when I'm having this really strong urge to binge, how do I bring myself down when I have the urge to binge? And sometimes it's like the urge to binge is already taking you up too high. You're already overwhelmed and overactivated, if you like. And so learning how to calm your nervous system down, independent of whether you're making a decision around food, can be really helpful as it starts to help your body experience the possibility of, I can make myself feel calm without food. But if you wait until you want the food to try to do that, you're probably going to end up in a bit of a battle with yourself. So then what I want to leave you with is the question, what's working against you? But also the question, is there a way that I can work with this? Or is there a way I can, I'm going to use the word sort of soften this outside of food? So if we're talking about nervous system and beliefs, we might need to soften that. Whereas something like biology, I tend to think we need to work with our biology rather than against it. By all means, have a go at working against it. But if you've been trying to do that for years and years and years, is it time to try something different? I'd also just like to ask your opinions, because I had a bit of feedback on my last video about thumbnails, where I'm eating in the thumbnails. And I guess I'm curious for some feedback about how people feel when they see thumbnails with me eating. Does it look trite? Or I think the word that was used was that it looks like I'm trying to be comical about this. And there's no part of me that thinks this is trite or light or funny stuff. I really want to emphasize that. I understand the pain that this problem can cause. But if you would take a moment to just share with me what kind of reaction you have when you see a thumbnail of me not eating versus me eating, because it seems to be the algorithm quite likes pictures of me eating. But if those are making people feel uncomfortable or bringing things up that then aren't helpful, let me know. And just a reminder, if you want to work with me, all my work is online. You can work with me from anywhere in the world. I will leave all my links to what I'm offering below. But thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next video.